Hey everybody, EC 204, week 5 in the books, 2 weeks left. Just wanted to recap a few of some of my thoughts this week after looking at your material for week 5. So let's start with the discussion. This week was spirited, as it typically is when you talk about taxes. Should taxes be cut? So the discussion on this was pretty good. And as I said, it was spirited. One of the challenges that you have in this is you'll get economists all over the map on these. And so while you think there should be principles as it relates to tax cuts, there aren't. You can have some people who assume that if you cut an individual's taxes or corporate taxes, that will trickle down and benefit the entire economy. And then you have others who will look at it and say, no, tax cuts are inflationary. They'll cause more money to be in the system, therefore driving up inflation and making the absolute purchase power of the consumer less. So don't even bother. You'll have people who will debate that corporate tax cuts do nothing but these days support stock buybacks by the companies and not in investment or in additional hiring. You'll have people who talk about tax cuts increasing the deficit because there will be less income coming into the federal government. So all those things weigh on this discussion. The one thing that I can tell you is regardless of where you fall on this, there are so many different aspects of taxation that it doesn't happen in a vacuum. So all these things are not out there just individually happening. So I can answer yes to some, I can answer no to others on one day, and the next day I'll flip my opinion on it. That's what economists do. So the discussion this week, I like the discussion that you all had. The assignment overall, pretty good application of the material in the text. This was one that it was more narrative than anything else, so I was pretty liberal in the way that I graded most of those. The quiz this week had much lower scores, and there were a couple of perfect scores, so for those of you who thought the questions were unfair, there were a couple of them who got them correct, but the remainder, the average was somewhere in the 20 out of 25 range. I want to give you a couple tips here on those. The first tip is read the PowerPoint lectures. My experience in teaching in this program tells me that well less than half of you bother to even read the PowerPoint lectures. When you have a quiz in a course, a lot of the quiz questions come directly from the PowerPoints. So I'd encourage you to make sure you take the time, energy, and effort to read the PowerPoints. It's really a summation of the key talking points in that particular chapter for that week. And then the other tip I would give you is to take the quiz last. Do your discussion forums, do your assignments, and then take the quiz last. And the reason being is because many of the quiz type questions are connected, if you will, to concepts that you have in the discussion forums as well as the assignments. And so it's something that you can continue to learn as you go through the week and answer some of those other things. I have a lot of folks in these classes who take the quiz first, and I'm like, you really haven't been exposed to the material that much that week. So make sure you fully, engulf what happens that week with the content before you take the quiz. So that would be the last thing I would do as you go forward. Okay, 2 weeks left. Look forward to the last 2 weeks and onward to week 6.